endlessly searching for an original sound.
Hey there guys, with the spooky season here, it's time for the waifu shirt to be retired, and now we have a new limited edition item, one of our nicest. A poster, a special Halloween poster featuring almost every character in our comic with some fantastic horror icons. So you can pick it up exclusively in our store, or if you guys want, through the Patreon. But I'd say get it through the store. Look at how nice this is. I actually have a copy myself, and it's really good. And if that's not your style, we also have cute little stickers. We have the comic book itself, at least issue 1, and more coming. So guys, check out our shop for lots of great things, and let's get back to the game. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the letter. The morning starts off quiet. Even the whole Salemwell residence seems unusually still. The open hallway, when I step out, is devoid of tenants. No sound coming from the other units either. It's almost as if something is brewing on the horizon. A peaceful night's sleep still does wonders for the mood, though. I can't even remember the last time I slept without anything urgent interrupting. It's a nice break from the bad news lately. If it wasn't for the incessant buzzing in my pocket waking me up, I'd sleep in. The ringing has stopped before I could move somewhere private, but sleep has always been effectively kicked out of my system by then. Pity. I could use a little more rest until I have to face the other storm. Of course, I owe Becca an explanation. Doesn't matter if it's the whole truth or another hastily spun tale. Although I haven't really figured out how to go about this yet. Unlike Zach and Isabella, who don't usually ask questions or are content with that little I could share, Rebecca's rather quick on the trigger. It will have to set aside for later, though.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City. Baggers, watch out, can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude, pretty fly for an Asian guy. Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Yeah,
Baggers,
sad.
watch out, can't
It would have
beat me.
been nice to
Looking for
just
trouble?
chill after a
Better
night
not
and a
lie.
half
I'm a
listening to the
cool dude,
news.
pretty fly for an Asian
Sure, it's
guy.
the same thing we've...
Sup, I'm
Can you
Ash from
please shut
Deluxe
that
City.
up?
Baggers, watch out, can't
Ray, where are you right now?
Now that's a tone I didn't expect from him at this hour. Was thinking how this'll go already gives me a headache. Immediately I reach up and pinch the bridge of my nose to stave it off.
This is why I won't ever drink myself senseless.
What was that?
Nothing, Chief. A pleasant morning to you too.
He's probably calling to rag on me or complain about his wife, which is really none of my business unless it affects my case. It seems like the usual rich man cheats on wife deal. Although I would have followed up on it if it were somebody else's wife. But, figuring it's the chief, hey, I trust him to come clean if the missus is related to the Wright's shady dealings. This is why I left before they even hauled the woman out last night. I'm not going to go around investigating cheating husbands and wives, when it's probably just that. Chief appears to have a different idea in mind, though.
There's nothing pleasant in the morning. Anyway, where are you? I told you millions of times before to keep your lines open.
He did, and not only him. Zach, Rebecca, Isabella, all of them have said the same thing numerous times in the past. But I was undercover last night. A phone call is the last thing I want to happen when there are other things I need to focus on at the time. Besides, we have radios and work-issued phones. Why isn't he using those channels if this is urgent?
Just woke up, sir. As awesome as it is to hear your voice this morning, it really is early. If you could give me a few minutes just to wake myself up, that'd be swell.
Let me check something.
No need for that. This won't take long.
Is something wrong? Am I needed at the precinct ASAP?
Oh no, everything's good over there. Just... Look, kid. Frey. Don't take this personally, alright? You're off the Luxborn firm case. Starting today.
Well, I did not expect to hear that either. This must be some kind of cosmic joke. I allow some awkward seconds to pass. Chief must be pulling another one of his awful pranks. Out of his bad mood, or a severe hangover maybe? Everyone knows that, when given the chance, he exercises no control with his drinking. If it wasn't for his wife chasing a stir, he'd probably be thrashed. An hour in at the party, he's more likely drank more after they threw her out of the ballroom. Besides, his sense of humor has never been good. It's just infuriating most of the time. But when he doesn't follow it up, if I sound a tiny bit frustrated speaking to my own superior, I'm not one to blame.
Wait, no. What? Are you kidding, Chief? Is this one of your practical jokes again? The temps won't say anything about it, but
It's not that. They're orders. From the higher-ups.
Ah, the higher-ups. Yes, my favorite word. Since when did the higher-ups ever care about the criminal investigation department did? As far as I could tell, they don't give a hoot if the CID is filled with cold cases, as long as we keep the spending low. When I need to view those old case files, though, they're locked away in the archives. You're gonna have to check with the higher-ups. I need access to these reports. See if the higher-ups would allow it. Every step, every move in this case, there isn't one that hasn't been gated by some authority. If it's not the chief, it's the commissioner, or so they always tell me. It makes one wonder why they even bothered assigning it to anyone. Not a single one of them has done anything to help move the case. And they wonder why it has taken this long for even a hint of progress to show.
you can't just drop this on me. You can't just take me off like that.
Yes, I can. And I'm sorry, Ashton. You're a good detective. One of the best I've seen in years, but...
3 years, Chief. 3 years!
3 years since that anonymous tech leak blew up. Since Luke Wright's name was openly linked to several nasty dealings within Luxborn's corporate world, some of them involving deaths. 3 years, and I was the only one who made it this far, made much progress that officers with more experience weren't able to do when they handled this case. Just within a year, and with barely any help from the damned brass at that. Of course I'll be pissed.
Do you know what would have happened if I didn't work my ass off on this thing? If I didn't dedicate a whole year of my time on it? It would have gone cold, like every fucking case Luke Wright has been linked to. I saved this from getting thrown into the archives, sir. I'm getting close. If you could just...
I'm fully aware of what you've done, Frey. But the Commissioner hasn't been happy with your progress. Still too slow by their standards.
Too slow? Well, what about those reports I filed? I've documented every freaking thing for them. I've given you every important lead I can gather. Isn't that enough?
They need results, not a bunch of research papers. Not one baseless assumption after another. Concrete proof, Frey. I'm really sorry. They've already made a decision. They're going to pass this on to someone who's been in the force longer. Someone who has more experience.
Someone who has more experience?
They meant nothing by it, but you're still too young to work on a case this big.
Chief, I've already done more than what those old farts ever did behind their desks. All of it, within just a year of being assigned to this.
Watch your language, Frey. Those are your superiors,
I'm not some damn rookie fresh out of training. I'm as qualified as they are.
Futile, I know it is. They never say it within my earshot, but from every minute I stepped into their precinct, a lot of them had underestimated me, from their stares alone to the assignment I get. To them, I'm just a kid, too young, too green, too inexperienced. And once they pull that card on me, every argument I have gets thrown out the window. No matter how logical it is, how much I've accomplished, what the records say, or the amount of work I put in every investigation they've thrown my way.
We're all aware of your skills, kid. You wouldn't have that badge and rank if you weren't good enough. However, this case is just not for you. Too high profile, too risky to put a good officer like you in harm's way.
Can he even hear himself? The reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it.
Don't I get a second chance? You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning. And don't even try to go touch anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Chief, please. A few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Afraid it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've been given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Frey. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? If this is about me being at that party, I have a good reason for...
You were at the party.
It makes me pause. His weary tone, the sudden careful note in his voice. Slowly a frown forms in my face, my eyebrows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my own boss, there's also suspicion in it. Hard not to think of it that way, seeing how he acted around Hannah Wright last night. Is he worried? Why should he be? Anyone was invited. I didn't doubt for a second why he received an invite, even if his presence was questionable. There's something wrong, and I've unintentionally walked into it. All I have is this sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at this from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off the case might be for the same reason he was there in the first place. Fuck.
Yes, Chief, I was. For a good reason. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was...
He coughs, and it almost sounds like he's choking on his own. Excuses, lies. I don't want to accuse him of anything yet. He's someone I've respected since I joined LPD, even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency to procrastinate. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done. He wouldn't be Chief Inspector of Luxbourne Police if he wasn't. He wouldn't last years in service without some track record backing him. Unless that too is a fluke, and what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh shit. Fucking hell. Fucking shit.
Chief Harvey, about last night with the...
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I'll recite the whole damn oath we've taken upon being sworn into service if I can, but at this point it seems too late to remind him of that. He's probably already moved from serving and protecting people to serving and protecting his own interests. Damn it. I've suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower ranked subordinates in the force, but from my own boss. Shit, no wonder that leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might have been pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the fucking case had been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give this up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be the kind of news to tell the Professor Clark after all those promises I've made to the man.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. Every copy of the files you have, I want to see it all on my table. Understood?
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? With my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my question off, as easy as discarding a dead body.
Yes, sir.
He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey, just like that. Funny, why has this still caught me off guard? I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is, how far from reality everything I believed in as a dreamy, wide-eyed child. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with the politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain a skeptic. I really am. Now here I am, standing, useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well, the storm I left brewing last night. It's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Would sleep again.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me, but at this point, our friendship, our lives, how does she still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raised an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things E-Man says, the part where Rebecca scares him sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. But the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation started to take. Only an awkward cop serves as a wall to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want. If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash! For the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did keep Zach safe to keep Rebecca safe, just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. Give him time. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand that I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips, in the furrowed brow, the hurt. This day is just off to a wonderful start. First, my case. Now, Becca. Okay. Let's see. Whoa, why did we go all the way there? Oh, I remember why now. Obviously, I can't just say, "Hey, Becca, you know the rights? They are suspected to be ringleaders of a crime syndicate and shit like that." Protocol and otherwise. There are so many things I'm not allowed to tell others. Even if I'm able to share information with citizens, knowing anything could very well put them in danger. It's why I keep it vague, obscure the facts, or, when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with. It has already become a part of me, no matter how much I loathe doing it.
I mentioned it, didn't I? I was there on behalf of someone else. I was on business, Becca. I wasn't there to have a good time.
She doesn't look convinced at all. Although she's the very picture of someone who's at least willing to listen, her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years. I feel like a kid again, being reprimanded by my junior high teacher for sleeping in class. But getting away with that is easier than with this one. It's the thing with someone you've been friends with for so long. They're the ones who know you inside out. Good grades wouldn't be enough for Becca to let this whole thing slide.
You couldn't even spare a single second to mingle.
What was I supposed to say? Hi, fancy meeting you here. Would you like to dance? By the way, those appetizers were really good. You should try some. Like that. I've got a boss guy breathing down my neck. I don't exactly have the luxury of doing as I please.
This much is true. My reason for being at the party too, however. Chi's presence last night made a lot of things difficult. Approaching them was out of the question when there was someone watching, a person who knew the reason why I was there. It turned out to be a good call on my part. But for someone who's already angry beyond reason, everything will only sound like an excuse.
Cut the shite. I saw you stuffing your face with the deviled eggs while your own boss is off on the other side of the room. You didn't even exchange a word or a glance with him either. In fact, I think you're also avoiding the man. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
I do feel guilty still. We've already been down this road. This is something I've done so repeatedly in the past. Something she's heard from me more times than all of my fingers could count. Something I just have to get over with at this
I'm
moment.
sorry, you know that, Becca. I really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me. If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob. I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense. I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block. I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole?
An investigation, you twit.
The only time you did talk to me was to spout some vague nonsense about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone. Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends? If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton. And I can make my own bloody decisions. I sure as hell can choose the people I want to let into my life.
Of course, she's allowed to do as she pleases. I never mentioned she couldn't. Us growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb idea to believe in when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. She'll make friends with people outside of our little circle. I'm just as free to form relationships with other people. But why, of all people, did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke Wright? That guy is nothing but trouble. How can she defend the guy like that? She's already calling him Luke, for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because he's... I really wish I could tell you.
What was that saying Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief? People who look at me now will probably say I'm a hair's breadth away from being a criminal. Z-Man said something like that once, a few years into our friendship. I laughed it off back then, but now, they're probably right. Little by little, I become the very kind person that I hate. How ironic. The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more, difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to the chief on Monday. Although, I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are often orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say fuck off and throw my gun and badge at him and become some vigilante, save the day and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about it. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
The other matter she mentioned last night specifically. Things even the news has been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxembourg police.
We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one handling the investigation. Yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulders. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I can throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if my friends have been telling me it's true. I can already hear Isabella laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
I probably deserve that.
Well, we'll just have to fix this another time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news, then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach, check on him, hear what he has to say. He has also read that damned letter. I might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective, or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever. It wouldn't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. If nothing comes out of this, good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses, and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something...
Are you two done?
There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only find her standing behind the door of her apartment second later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly as if to hide from anyone who might have been passing by. This early on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone would. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I could make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. Hair in complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her pajamas. I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends. I even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the boundaries of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets me early visitors in her sleeping clothes. Though maybe that's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that I quickly downplay with a solid cough.
Isabella, you're up early.
Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply averts her gaze to some points beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried tinge in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time. I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
She follows it up with another pout. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the immediate effect she's trying to show. Really, right now, she just looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it given me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What? Has she been crying earlier? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the one time I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something, I think it was for Davlin Court the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it to herself, though.
Belle, did something...
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything.
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help. You know, if there are files you want to check.
I don't like what she's implying. It's true, LPD's having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances...
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. The slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, the mild slump in her shoulders, while she crosses her arms tightly around herself. It's like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out there. I have plenty of reason why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a citizen. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet. I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait so she won't be dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumption might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right, 5 minutes.
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much.
4 minutes and 30 seconds, 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful! I hope you never get a girlfriend.
She slams the door right after, although my chuckles, the mirth, and the lightness in it linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as it echoes fade and only the ghost of a smile remains.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
I want to tell her. It's not because I can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to, until I fixed myself, until I found myself underneath all that guilt and those lies I've been telling all these years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I'm not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, little words and gestures are the only thing I can offer. Minor stuff such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. I'm not even sure if this'll give us anything. Unlike the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going by her words on this. Speaking from Luxborn firm case, I still have to inform the professor. The apprehension there for sure. I've made a lot of promises to the man, and I would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than from a stranger. The railing offers a steady support while I wait for him to answer. I'd like to think I can do this without losing my nerve. I grip on the bars shortly tightens though once the call connects.
Ashton,
Not running today, Professor?
He's usually at the park on a late Saturday morning, as long as it isn't raining cats and dogs. Keep him young and healthy, he says, and he's certainly fit for a man of his age, with a sanitary job.
oh no, not today.
He's definitely at the usual place, though. Cheers and laughter likely from children and families, filling through the receiver. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of what could haves when it's already over. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both connecting their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights, like Professor Clark does.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly seems happy right now. In any case, I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quickly as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type, however. Long-held resentment can change a person. Even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
I suppose I'm just a downer today. As soon as I say those words, he pauses, and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He's probably trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's a good thing I'm delivering this news through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in my face and my mannerisms. The art of keen observation, I have learned it from the man. He probably already has an idea of what this might be about, from my manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. But I manage, eventually after a long ragged draw of breath, to pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton,
He only assumes that tone when there's a reprimand at its heels.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
you've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. That exhaustive rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was just... I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment. But all he gives me is a sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz. She insisted I call her his late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and content herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I had to a mom in a few years that I've known her. The professor, too. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache and their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up on her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a wink either.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I can still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, primly dressed, briefcase in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months. Something about a lot being a prime property down in Luxbourne. I think they were hoping to settle the deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night for a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, the news of the bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city, one casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. Fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well, however. I can tell that he hates the man to this day. He might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happened in this city. He's never blamed me, though, when I'm as equally responsible. I knew something was off the moment those men stepped into the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her. I called for help or whatever. I didn't. So, it continues to eat at me until today, the guilt. The Luxburn Forum case would have been our chance of reopening that old case if we could prove Luke right of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet, all he has from me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise a second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly he stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashes in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his finger. Before he continues, another habit. He's never removed it since that day. Has never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some sense of normality. It's his normal, it's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring the justice to the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us afterwards. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortune.
I apologize too, for putting you up to this.
In another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but...
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who has investigated this. So don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently too. What with the upsetting news we've been getting as of late. Deaths almost every day. I'm not entirely sure if that has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him. But if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But, as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeing with will only cut deeper wound in the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He's already gone through as many years of it. This kind of anger, scared the shit out of me. Thanks, dog. Sort of blinds people, despite his... This kind of anger, it sort of blinds people. Despite his reassurance, the bitterness still seeps into every syllable he utters. It's one of the things for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered a second father go down this path.
Please don't apologize. It's really all right. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while, but I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you.
Promise again, a bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. At this time, I prided myself over being the one to always know. Because suddenly, aside from Wright and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about. Things that are completely out of my depth. Professor Clark right in some way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in his place where he belongs. And maybe not click off the darn window. Although, if he was in any way also complicit to what's happening, legalities have my hands tied. Maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night, if only I had done a better job during the party. But then the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose too. I'd include that gatecrasher as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night at the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night, how many of these instances have I missed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effective fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, hallucinogens lacing the food is the first thing I considered, purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the setting the gears in my head automatically take in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all that yet until I've had enough information. Something to form a conclusion. Proof in whatever of for it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when all of a sudden all your beliefs are being upturned in the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go, Professor.
Oh, no problem. But what are you...
I don't have time to listen to what the professor has to say as I cut the call short. The second Isabella emerges from her apartment, fully dressed, ready for the day. As usual, she greets me with a smile, but it falls as fast as she catches a glimpse of my face. And that, folks, is where we're going to end it. So I'll see you all next time for more of The Letter. Thank you all who are watching this, and let me know what you think of this, and if there are any horror visual novels you want me to do next. See you guys next time. And don't forget to check out my Twitch where you can see this lovely little VTuber every time you watch a stream. Bye, guys.